Good morning and welcome back to Jody Lewis Creations. Today is, what is today? Thursday, September 15th. That will come into some perspective for you in January with a couple of other videos that I'm posting. I mean, life is crazy right now, let me tell you. All right, so you guys know I had to work on a journal for a swap for Christmas, and I'm filming that, but that's going to air in January. But I need content for right now, right? So this is going to be our next project. My brain does not work like this, I have to tell you. It's really hard for me to work on 2 projects at one time. And it's actually going to end up being 3 projects at one time because at some point I have to choose my next design team project. So I am getting this packaged so it's ready to send. I have a private listing on Etsy, so as soon as she completes it, I've got to get that taken to the post office. I have printed this really pretty kit from Tailor Made Journals. This is a Christmas wish, and it is a beautiful kit that I think is pairing very well with my Stamperia Pink Christmas paper pad. Mary, you had asked me where I had gotten this, and I got it from ASC Supplies, but I've had it for a couple of years, so I don't know if Crystal still has this in her shop or not. However, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. In fact, I will see if I can find it on Amazon. Let me just do that real quickly and let you know. Hang on just a second. Okay, I wish I hadn't done that because now I'm like, ooh, do I want to buy that? Okay, so I see 6x6 and 8x8 on here, but I don't see the 12x12, but so I don't know if it's still available or not. Anyway, I'm so distracted now because I've got Amazon pulled up. I'm telling you guys, this is crazy. Okay, so my plan for this is I'm going to do another folio. I'm really excited about it. Of course, I don't know where I'm going to go with it. And I do have, it took me forever yesterday to find the template that I made for the one I did for the swap, for the retreat that I went to in Tennessee. Believe it or not, I have had a cup and a half of coffee this morning. This is just how my brain's working right now. Okay, so I have my template here. And so I want to do something similar, but not exactly like the one I did with the for the swap. These are legal size file folders, and I don't need a legal size, but I do. These are a heavier card than the ones I used from Dollar Tree. When I was with my girlfriend, we got a box of these and split them because they're really heavy quality. So hopefully that will help me not have to reinforce the spine and all of that so much. And then I'm doing this now because in October I'm meeting up with my friend and she wants to do a file folder folio, so I have to kind of get my base done and get a plan so I can give her measurements and know what she needs to bring so we can make it. So having said that, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Like I said, I kind of want to do like I did with the blossom, but I think I'm going to need it bigger than 1-inch spine, or the 1 3/8 I think is what it ended up being. And I want it to be a little bit wider to allow for trim and fluff. And I think I want it to have a few more flips and flaps and all that. So I know I'm not being very clear right now because I'm thinking about this on the fly. If you remember, let me grab it. Okay, this was the first one that I did for my prototype, was my Tim Holtz folio. And remember, I did this as a mistake, and I had to correct that because my closure didn't work how I wanted it to. I mean, I've left it there. I still love this. So I want to do something similar and kind of meld the two projects. Sorry. So what I'm thinking is the front I'm going to do this one differently. And I say this because I want to use one of these gorgeous images or even these cut aparts on the front for dimension and have a really cool topper. Like, how pretty would, you guys know I love my squirrels, right? So maybe I'll use the squirrel as my front piece, or the greetings. I don't know yet. But I don't think I want this front pocket. So I'm going to change it up some. So I want just a plain front pocket, which means I'm going to have to do this a little bit differently, because if you remember, this piece and this piece are two different file folders. So I'm going to work on getting a design, and then once I get kind of my head in the game here, we can work on that. So yes, I'm scattered. I apologize, but some of you have told me how much you like seeing the process of how my brain works when I'm creating something like this. So yes, I'm scattered, but I'm sharing it with you. So hopefully you'll give me some grace. Now I do have the center tab, and I do want to make sure I have the center tab because I really like this, how it is enclosing the journal itself, but I may change that as well. I may change that. You know what? I'm thinking I may make this like 2 inches and allow 1 inch for each, kind of like I did with the Christmas journal for the Christmas in July project, but different because I want to have room for the interactive pieces and pockets. See, this you know, leave a little bit of a score to leave room to put things in here. Yeah. All right, let me think about this. I will be back as I gather my thoughts. I'm going somewhere, I promise. I was going to delete the last segment, but I think it's important to know that we all make mistakes, and that's okay. It's part of it. I remembered something that I had not made a note of that I need to make a note of for in the future. Just because this is a center tab doesn't mean this tab is centered on this folder. So you can see my lines here. And I found the center point of the full height of the file folder, but that is not the center. That is not having the tab in the center. So that will look funny if I've got, you know, like 2 inches here and 2 1/4 or 2.5 inches on this side. It's going to be lopsided. That will make me crazy. So I got a different file folder. And again, this will not get tossed. I'll use it. It just has pencil marks that I'm going to have to deal with. Okay, so I found the center point of my tab. Then I put my ruler on it at 4.5 because I want a 9-inch high journal. So I just did the center of the tab. I just kind of measured. I found kind of a happy point here at 5 1/4. I thought was really close to the, I just kind of found a place where my ruler looked like it was kind of centered on both sides of that, which ended up being 5 1/4. And so I just divided that in half, found my center point, put my ruler there at 4.5, that dot, and then made a dot at 1, or excuse me, at 0 and at 9. So now I've got my base of this one. So now I have to pray for a straight line when I cut it. I don't know if my trimmer will cut this or not. I guess there's only one way to find out, is just to go for it and hope for the best. Because this is pretty thick, so hopefully it'll cut. And I'm just putting my wire on my dot. I don't know if you can see that or not. No, you cannot. Sorry. I lifted my my thing up too to try to get this all in frame for you. I have too much on my table. Like I said, I have all these different projects going on. And I still have to get everything cleaned up so we can leave and not have a mess. Okay, so I just have my dot on the wire here. Oh, please cut. Oh, wow, it cut. Yeah. All right, so same on this one. It feels like I'm cutting so much off. Make sure we're square and straight. Oh, please cut. Oh, that one was a little bit rougher. And now we have an almost centered tab. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm just gonna go with it. I am not going to not. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know why that's really. Oh, maybe it's just my eyeballs. It's okay. Okay, so that's gonna be, this is actually gonna be the front. And this is gonna fold in, and then this piece, and I needed to go ahead and cut it because I'm trying to envision what I'm doing here. So I've gotta make some score marks on this. Save these pieces, these will make pockets. And then I need my other piece here that I'm going to use, but I've gotta score this so I can see how it's gonna fall and lay. And yeah, hang on. Okay, I had to read my note here. All right, so from the factory score, not the fold, the score, for the score, okay? I figured this to be like 9 3/8 of an inch across here. So I'm going to go 6 1/2. Why am I using a pencil? A pencil is not going to score it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/2. Okay. 6 1/2. And then I figured, where's my notes? 6 1/2. And then, let's see, 1 1/4. Okay. So then, it's okay. I should have done that a different way because valleys make mountains, but that's all right. Okay, so that'll fold in. This will be, it doesn't really matter, honestly, which is which. Okay, so we're ignoring this fold here. That'll get stabilized, right? And then, so from this score line, I said 2 1/2. So let me do it this way, just for ease of being right-handed. So 1, 2 1/2. Oops, don't do that, Jody. And I just did it again. Valleys make mountains. That's all right. Okay, so that's gonna be the front. This is gonna be our back spine. Okay, so now, again, ignoring that, we'll stabilize it. That's gonna fold in, okay? And then I've gotta figure out my back piece and how I wanna do that. And don't worry, I'll have all these measurements. So once I get this actually figured out, I will make sure I have the measurements for you if you want to follow along and make a similar piece. So hopefully that's right. This is the thought process, guys. So what I was thinking is this is 1 1/4 here, and then this back one would be 1 1/4 as well. This is gonna make a pocket. And I thought I would put that pocket on the inside. So It gets really complex when I try to figure these things out. And again, I will make sure you guys have measurements. So what I'm thinking is I definitely want this to be a box. What I did like about the one that I made before is that the signature was kind of enclosed with this little flap. So I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of incorporate that. But what I'm thinking is, rather than have it come from this back spine, I will end up making these two front flaps a tuck of some sort. So like it'll have, let me unclip this. I'm trying to envision what I'm doing here. It's really hard at this stage to do this. It's just difficult. But what I was thinking was, you know, that'll have, this is not the right size, whatever. But it'll have like a flap or something on it to act as a tuck, and then that'll kind of, it'll fold into the middle. So this will come together as I continue to design it. And again, I will have measurements and more concise instruction by the end of this video. I just am sharing the thoughts with you and kind of showing you it is a big process to go through this and to design it. And I don't want to make exactly the same thing. I want to change it up because I've already made it once, so let's make something different, right? I do have a file folder that I cut wrong, and that's okay. It'll still get used for flaps and flips and all that stuff. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, these are really good heavy duty ones. You can do this with the lighter weight ones. This is personal preference. By the time we add our papers to it, we stabilize it, we do whatever we're gonna do to it, the regular file folders are fine. I mean, this has no issue with stability. I'm fine with it. It's just what I wanted to work with on this project. So having said that, I'm just going to keep working. I have to go outside and help Mark do some things, which would be good. It will give my brain a break from this for a minute. And I clip it like I'm clipping it because it helps me envision it. It's really hard to hold all of this together. I need to cut this off because I know that I'm going to cut this at 2.5 inches from that score mark because that's what will reinforce this back spine. And I think I'm going to do a hidden spine on these, but the signatures actually be sewn in on this side, I think. So, okay, moving along. I'll be back. Okay, this is the next day. This is Friday, the 16th, and I'm glad I didn't actually ink this last night like I had planned to, because I realized in my, well, when I was laying there wide awake for an eternity last night, I needed to cut this to 8.5 inches versus 9. I had started at 9 inches in height, which is not a big deal when I'm using like the full scrapbook paper, but because of using the digitals with it, the actual printed image is like, I don't know, 8.25. And so any dyed paper, anything like that I use, I'll cut down to 8.25. I don't like cutting off the little strips, but it makes it easier when using the digitals and everything. I just feel like it will look nicer. An 8-inch paper pad is actually a really great size for making these folios, but I don't have this paper pad in 8 inches, so we're going with it. Okay, so I did not label these, and I should have. So let's say this is gonna be the outer piece. Don't mind my scribble. And this is gonna be our inner piece, and that'll make sense, okay? Now, your width is going to be determined by what size file folder you use. So, for example, this one is, let's see if it measures the same. I'm going to give you measurements, but I want to make sure that I'm going to tell you correctly. So, if you use the letter size, the width is a little bit different. So you're going to have to play with your file folders and just do what works for you. This is what's working for me. Again, I'm using these legal size, and actually, I mean, height-wise, they're the same. So it's just a matter of the score marks and where the score marks are. So on this one, let me see where my lines are in here. What did I do? This is what I did. Okay, there we go. Goodness. So the factory fold is there, and then you've got the score marks to the right, okay? So, sorry. So I've got ignore here, okay, because that's that factory fold, how it comes, right? It's not your expansion, it's just the factory fold. So from the score mark is where I measured, okay? So I went 6.5 inches from the score mark. So I've got ignore on this one. This is the factory one. So from the score mark here, 6.5 inches, 2.5 inches for the spine, 1.25 inches for this spine, and then the flap is just what's left over. And then on this piece, again, from the score mark, 6.5 inches, okay, the 1.25 inch spine, the 2.5 inch spine. And then I left this so it would be a pocket, and then we have our flap that folds in. Hopefully that's going to make sense for you. And I did 8.5 inches tall. You can make these however tall you want. You can make these however wide you want. This is just how I'm doing it because I want to have the boxed effect like I did with the one I made for the swap in Tennessee. So it'll close up and be boxed, okay? So whatever size you want your spine, just make sure that your front spines are the same, if you're following along. If you have questions, please ask me in the comments below. I am certain that there will be people that have questions. Perhaps I'm not explaining it in a way that you're understanding, and I do apologize if that's the case. So I have my tab punch board. I'm going to think about this for a second because I don't want to punch it wrong. So now I have a little tabby shape there. This one, I'm just going to round that corner. Again, it's whatever you want to do. You don't have to round it. You can leave it square. I want the softer edge. Okay, so now that'll be my flap, like that. Okay, hopefully that you can see that. And let's clip these back together. My little wonder clips are leaving divots in my paper, but it'll be okay. All right, so straighten it up. So there's that one. And then this one, how was I gonna do this side? Okay. This one, I think I'll just curve this edge. Yep. Okay, there we go. So that's going to be the tuck on this side. So I'm going to get everything inked, and that'll be in, I'll come back in the next video and we'll start building. So I want to get this posted. So if you have any questions about the measurements or I'm not clear, which I may not be, I'm very scattered this morning. We have a lot going on at our house right now. So that's going to go like this. Okay. Yes, I am humming Rocky music today because that's how my brain's operating. All right. So we have our box. Okay. I have something is not in the fold right, but I'll figure it out. I've done something wrong, but it'll be fine. It's fine. It's not. It's just the way it's just standing there. It's okay. Okay. So any questions, ask, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Bye.